Hey everybody out there, it's Alabama Deep. I'm coming back at you. Alright, so we got a watch review from DHGates. This one's coming out. This is my Replica Pepsi meteorite dial. Got it off of DHGates. Come in and have a look at this on my wrist, and then we will take it off and do a little bit more investigating into it. Right off the bat, the Cyclops is excellent. I don't think I've ever seen a better example of a Cyclops on a replica watch. I also do like the purple blue hue of the bezel with the red for the Pepsi. It's pretty remarkable. The thickness of the bezel, I say, is pretty much spot on. That looks good. Bracelet looks good. Clasp looks good. I don't like the dial, however. The dial to me is not as realistic as some others, but this one was $49.96. You can't really beat that price on DHGates, and this is what I got. The case, bracelet, everything about this watch other than the dial seems to be pretty spot on. Let's have a look at this. We can look at the sides. It is milled correctly, polished correctly. Now this is supposed to simulate white gold. I think it does pull that off rather well. Case back looks pretty good. Markings on this watch, they also look pretty good. The only thing that does not match up to the real is this does not have a glide track on the clasp. That's okay. That is never seen. And for $50, what do you really expect? I'm not sure of the movement of this. I'm thinking the same old 2813 as usual. I'm not too sure about the real Pepsi. This is a reverse dial. It can go either way. I know on some GMTs they are like that. So this is quite possible. This is emulating a 2019 model. And overall, from a distance, this pulls off pretty well. It looks pretty realistic, but once again, minus the dial. The dial to me does not look real at all. I can tell that's not meteorite, even though it's trying to pull that off. But once again, kudos on the Cyclops. Look at that. That date pops. It does turn around exactly at midnight, even though it's not the quick date feature as on a real Rolex. Nonetheless, it does its job. I think the bracelet itself is pretty good quality. I can't say it's not because it is. Everything about this watch is pretty damn good for $50. I have little complaints on this watch whatsoever. So I would definitely 100% say that if you wanted to get a replica Pepsi with a meteorite dial, then this is one of your more affordable options. I will say that there are more expensive ones out there, and they probably have a real meteorite dial, a simulated meteorite dial. This one, to me, however, appears to be just printed onto a disc. I'm not going to complain about it. I do like it. I am going to wear it today. Frank has left my arm just for a little bit, so I can wear this Pepsi. I do enjoy it quite a bit. I'd like to get into something else real quick, but I will go ahead and just turn this over for everyone to see. If you're thinking about going to DHGates and getting one of these Pepsis, I think it's a good choice. I received this one in. It's very good. I have 3 other replicas coming in, date just with diamonds, and then I have a bluesy two-tone. I will be doing reviews on those as soon as they come in, and at $50, why not? I can order as many of them as I want to. This is very good. I can't complain about that at all. Quality for the metal and the bracelet, give it a thumbs up. Okay, let's talk about movements off of not DHGates. They mainly sell a bunch of fake replica Rolexes on there and other watches. Let's talk about AliExpress. Now, we went on to AliExpress and we bought a couple of movements here, and what do they mean? One is supposedly high quality. Other one is just regular, blah, blah, blah. So what are you really getting for your money? and we'll look at these. I got a $100 version, a $65 version, and I got an $80 version. Let's just see if there's any differences in these at all, or if they're all basically the same. Let's just pop this right on out and have a look. This is the third one. This is supposedly the high quality. So let's take it out and set it down right next to the other two. Okay, so let's see what we're getting here. Okay, first let's look at one of the ones I pulled off. This is a $65 version. So let's go ahead, let's take a look at that. $65 is not bad. I think that's rather cheap, actually, for a watch movement of this caliber. Haha, see what I did there? Yeah, the finish on it looks pretty good. Can't say it's not. Finish on this looks pretty good. Has the pigtail on it. I have measured it with my timograph. This one is pretty much spot on at -2 seconds a day with a beat error of 0. So this one passes my test. Now this one right here is the $65 version, $67 version, whichever. It does okay. Now we're going to zoom in to see if there's any difference in these whatsoever, and y'all give me your opinions on it when the time comes if you see any differences at all. This is a second up version. Let's see if there's any difference in this at all. Automatically, I think there was a screw loose on one of these. Can't remember exactly which one it was. I think it's this one that had a screw loose on it. The screw did come out of this. I'm not sure what that screw went to. We don't really know, but I don't think it matters. It may have just been an extra. I never noticed anything different. It does wind up pretty well. Does what it's supposed to do. The finish on it is pretty well. Look at the purple wheel. Let's notice that. So right off the bat, I don't really notice any big differences so far. I know when I'm winding one sounds more meatier than the other. So this one right here sounds identical to one that I would hear on a timograph with a Rolex or with a microphone. This one sounds a little bit different. This is a little bit of a more deep tick. Does not sound like the original Rolex, although it is 28800. It sounds a little more deep. Okay, so I'm thinking maybe the materials are a little bit more beefy in it, quite possibly, because they don't sound the same. This one sounds spot on. This one sounds a little bit deeper. If I was a Rolex watch dealer working for a Rolex store, selling them as an AD, I could definitely tell that that does not sound like a genuine Rolex to me. That sounds a little more deep. And tell me your opinions and your experiences in comments below. Do all 3135 sound the same? From what I've been able to tell, yes, they all sound the same to me from year to year. But, you know, I've only been in this for a little while, so I don't really know 100% of all of it. Of course, I'm not an expert on any of it, just my own meandering experience. So tell me, 3135s, do they sound different every 10 generations or every 5 generations? You let me know in comments below. They all beat at 28800. This one sounds just like a Rolex. This one sounds a little bit more deep. So for the price difference, I think this one has a little bit more thicker parts, a little more beefy perhaps, if I can say that yet once again. This one sounds spot on the way it's supposed to. I guess the parts are not as thick as what this one would be, because this one sounds pretty damn deep. All right, and then supposedly this is the highest quality of them all. This is a $100 one. Let's see if there's any difference at all. Let's pop it on out. Let's just have a look at it, if it'll come out. I don't notice a difference at all. I know the winding on it doesn't sound as gritty. You can hear it whine. Doesn't sound very gritty at all. Sounds pretty good, actually. Okay. Now I'm about to flip these over, and we're going to zoom in on these, and we're going to have a look-see at them, and we're going to see if there's any differences whatsoever in jewel placement, parts, etc. Da, 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 da. I know that these are not as good as what my Asian friend gets me to put in my replacement movements for people. These are just ones off DHGates, which I'm sure my Asian friend gets them from the same producer somewhere, somehow. But what I have seen, these are not as good as what my Asian friend can find them for. Because the ones I have take genuine parts, interchangeable 100%. These don't seem like they are. These don't seem like they're interchangeable to me, although I could be wrong. Quite possibly. I don't know. I do notice the packaging looks exactly the same. So, I know the wheel on this one seems a little bit better on the $80 one. Oh no, we'll zoom in. The higher ups right there, it kind of looks like that brass wheel is better. Yeah, that wheel looks a lot better on those other two than it does on this one. This one I can tell it's not nearly as good. Okay, so let's come in and let's zoom in on these. I'll place them a little bit down here. Let's zoom in on this one real quick. I'll just pick it up and bring it into the scene if I have to, or just move it out of the way. Let's bring this one in. All right, so here is this one. You can look at that brass wheel. It doesn't look like it has the rough lines on it like the other cheapo does it? Looks pretty good to me. Let's compare it to the $80 version one. See how even the $80 version one, it doesn't have the lines on it. Neither does this one. So the 80 and 80, this one here, these look the same actually to me. They're pretty well done. I can see that the engraving is a little bit different. Everything else looks fine. Let's see if I can move the reversing wheels around. Let's have a look at that side. There we go. Let's get it to where we can look at those reversing wheels. Looks the damn same to me. So these two look like they're better high quality. Let's compare it to the lowest quality $60 version. Oh yeah, you can probably tell. Yeah, look, you can see those lines on that reversing wheel on this one. Doesn't look as good as far as that goes. The rest of it, however, to me, looks about the same. So maybe some of the internal parts are just a little bit better, but I can tell a difference in that brass wheel right there. It's not as good as the other two are. The other two are pretty smooth. This one's a little bit choppy. So the cheaper one still looks good. I mean, to me it does. But it's not as good a refined polish or maybe brass components than the more expensive ones. Maybe that these parts are brass plated and not brass. I don't know that for sure, but just a good educated guess. The other two, $80 and up, they're pretty good. A little more refined. And one of them does sound a little bit deeper than the rest. I should note out, I'll bring them all back in. The $100 one and the cheaper one for 65, 67, I will flat out say sound identical. They do. I mean, I can't tell a difference in how they perform. The tick sounds just as good as what it should. But that $80 one, the tick sounds a little bit more deep, which signifies to me that parts are probably a little bit better. I don't think I put that in right, but it's okay. Yeah, okay. So the $100 one, the cheaper dollar one, they sound identical. Okay, this is a little bit more polished and refined. Its wheels, probably solid brass. This one, I'm taking a guess that the wheels are probably just brass plated on this. $80 one, the same, solid brass wheels, it appears. But for some reason, it sounds deeper. And I can't put my finger on it. I think it's just the use of the metals themselves. But, okay, guys, that's my recap on the 3 different movements I've gotten from AliExpress. You do get a little bit better of a refined polish on the $100 one, but what is that really worth compared to $67? Is it worth paying the extra money for? I don't necessarily think so. I think the cheaper is just as good as the $100 one and the $80 one, as far as I'm concerned. Although the brass plated possible wheel does bug me a lot. To me, I don't think it's just worth the money, but they do say you get what you pay for. So I guess in the long run, we're going to see which one lasts the longest, the $100 one or the $65, $67 one. We will find out in time. But yeah, that was just an itch I had to scratch. I had to find out what was the difference in these. I just needed to know, because I'm ordering these off AliExpress for people that have questions about them. Are they good movements? Are they not good movements? So far, my timograph says they are. They're perfectly fine. Probably will need a good service. Just saying. But yeah, I can tell a difference between these two and this one. The $80 and $100 one are a little bit more refined brass and polished, perhaps. This lower quality one here, it looks like the wheels are a little bit less. So take it for what it's worth. Do you want to spend the extra $30 on it? Hey, you go right ahead if you want to. I don't have an issue with it at all. This you can do as you wish. I think for me, I'll just keep using my little Asian friend for as long as I can, because their clones are interchangeable with real parts. But these, since I bought them, I'm probably going to throw them into a couple watches, and we'll see how long they last the long term. Okay? All right, guys. Well, this is Alabama Deep. I appreciate it so much for y'all watching my videos. If you go shopping on DHGates, don't forget you can actually pick up a pretty good representation of a Pepsi GMT there from 2019 with a meteorite dial. And if you go on AliExpress, you can find various degrees of 3135 movements. And I think that the lesser quality is not as good as the $100 more expensive ones, but nonetheless, we'll see what they do over time in performance. Alright guys, I hope you enjoyed this video. Maybe you learned a few things from it. I'll be back later, and we're going to get to working on that Rolex 1570 before all this is over with. But I've been at work. The bottom has fallen out of it. There's a lot of people passing away at this time, and I have to meet the needs of the family, so that doesn't leave much time for watchmaking. Alright guys, I will catch you on the next video. Thank you for watching. Like, share, subscribe. Help me in the algorithm for YouTube. Get my videos out there. And if you have a watch that you want me to work on, I've got a couple I've been doing. Got one Timex I need to send back as soon as I can. And I have that Rolex from somebody else that I desperately need to get back to them as fast as I can. But if you have a watch you want me to work on, you can email me at jjmbaum gmail.com. I'll check my emails and try to get back to you as soon as I can. All right. Thank you for watching. Bye-bye.